All right. Let's wait for the people to get in here, man, so we can get down and do our thing. Y'all know, man, I had to go back to the tried and true. We are back on the Panasonic S5 II with the 50 millimeter f1.8. I have tried several images over the past few months, and this is my favorite image. This is my favorite image. Random one man, good to see you in the joint. Appreciate you being in the joint. First on deck. It is going to be quite wealthy. I agree. Markel, what's good, young homie? Good to see you in the joint, man. Good afternoon to you, young brother. DJ Insane, what up, man? I see you. I see you. Tupac with a mohawk, what up, with you, man? XL Pro, I see you. King Will, what up, man? This is my absolute favorite image, man. I mean, it is a phenomenal image. It's a great image, man. So this is what we'll be shooting on for the foreseeable future, man. I don't see any need to upgrade this camera, at least for the next 5 years. Because honestly, I have something else I go shoot birds with. I do bird photography with, wildlife photography. I have a totally different setup for that. But for this is my setup. Perfectly in focus. Perfect skin tones. Perfect highlight fall off. You know what I mean? In the edit, I can pull up a lot of the shadows, details, and you can save a lot of the highlight details. Man, this is a phenomenal lens. I mean, phenomenal lens and body kit here. So this is what we'll be doing. Pastor Eckett, what up, man? Rick, man, what up? Herring, what up? Salute. Let's get the people, man, a couple of minutes to get in here. We got a good show tonight, man. I started to simulcast this to both channels, but we're going to keep these channels separate, man. We're going to keep the Book of Alpha Running Me channel separate from Good Afternoon with Alpha Running Me. And this is another live show on Good Afternoon with Alpha Running Me, and I appreciate y'all being in the joint. All right, let's get the people about a couple of more minutes to get in here. A couple of more minutes. If everybody can hear me loud and clear and all of those things, man, ain't nobody said that yet, so I'm sure we in here live and direct. Today's show is phenomenal one, I might say. I'm an OG. My wife must worship me like I worship God. I lead my household spiritually. Period. God is my God. I am her God. That way I know that everything in my household is running the same when I'm not home. This is what you must do. You must understand that this is the position you must take. Let's give the people another minute or so to get in here. GT Extra, what's good, brother? I see you. I'm out down there taking pictures of birds in that swamp, man. When that sun set, mosquitoes came from everywhere, man. I'm talking about, but they only bit me like from my elbow down. I mean, I did have on sleeves. I mean, I did have on a short sleeve shirt, and I did have on pants. So, fortunately, they ain't do no biting on my face and them. But I'm talking about from my elbow down. I probably got it. They ate me up, bro. Real talk. All right, so let's get into it. AJ, what up? SJ3, Harlem World Breaker, my brother. Salute to you, man. Appreciate you being in the joint, man. Salute, King Ray Ray, the realest of the real. Salute to you, brother. Good to see you in the joint, man. Good to see you in the joint. Let's go ahead and get ready to do this, man. All right. We're really going to talk about what happens if you don't guide your household spiritually. And by guiding your household spiritually, everyone must willingly follow you spiritually. You can't force people to do certain things. I mean, you could, but in this society, in the West, you run the risk of getting yourself in trouble. Now, in other cultures, the men rule spiritually with an iron fist, and other men in the environment help them. Everyone is making sure that the people in the environment are living a certain way. In the West, we really can't do that. So you have to establish this from the onset. And you must remember that it is your job to lead your household spiritually. It is your responsibility to lead your household spiritually. And your wife must worship you like you worship God. And respect that it is your responsibility. Because let me tell you something, as a man, God holds you accountable for what happens in your household. Now, what people do when they go outside of your household, ain't nothing you can do about that. They got to go out there, they got to take their lumps. They got to go out there and whatever the consequences, repercussions that come with their actions, that's out there. But within your household, you have to be able to dictate that. You got to run it like a dictatorship. And so I see guys who they're Muslim and their wife is Christian. So they're going to the temple on Saturday and their wife going to the church on Sunday. And then you wonder why there's no spiritual astuteness, there's no spiritual connectivity in your household. It's because God don't respect you spiritually. Spirituality is a respect thing. It's about respectability. How respectable are you spiritually? Do you live the way you say you live? Do you uphold the ways and words of God like you should? You say you do it, but do your actions relay what you say? So let's get into this thing. Listen, you want to be a part of this live chat? Go to the main channel page. Next to the subscribe button, you'll see a join button. Click that join button, go into the kiosk and come on, become a member. You could be in the live chat. Otherwise, I appreciate you listening in. You're welcome to stay and listen. And, you know, if you want to make a comment, I will address it. You super chatted, I will address your comment. So let's get into it. Now, when you think about this, only God can hold you accountable for your spiritual astuteness. Only God can reward you for your spiritual astuteness. Everything you are spiritually, everything you know, the strength that you have to live by the laws, statutes, commandments, it comes from the Most High. Because God made you as a man in his image. Let us make man in our image. Man was already there. Woman was made as a favor to man, so he can have a helpmeet. Her sole purpose is to be your helpmeet, not your leader, not your guide, not your teacher, not your instructor, your helpmeet. That's all. A suitable helpmeet. We're gonna use the fresh new Bible today. I need to put some wear and tear on this page as well. It's sitting over there right now like a collector's item. We don't need that, do we? So I like to take you straight to the word. I could sit here and quote it, you know, just off the top of my head. But let's go right here. It's gonna be in 3 here. All right. So, and the Lord caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof. And the rib which the Lord had taken from man made he a woman and brought her unto the man. And Adam said, this is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman because she was taken out of man. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. Now, what did we just learn? We learned that the first human procreation was delivered through man, not woman. Man is made in God's image. Woman is made as a piece of man. She's a piece of you. Technically, she is like a bacteria that grew from you. He only took a rib. So how can that be expected to lead you? A lot of times it's an expectation you have for your woman to be able to lead you. We hear it said that, a good woman can bring the best out of a man and no, God can bring the best out of a man. Whatever version of you that comes out through the influence of a woman is not the version of you that you are intended to be. Because that version was created, connected, and everything else before the woman was ever created. The version of man that needed to worship God, that knew what he should do, knew what he shouldn't do, named the animals, took control of everything, had dominion over all of the animals, had this beautiful place to exist in. All of that was given to man before woman ever came. So she was never meant to be in any leadership position in your life at all. When you think about it, for the majority of women, their idea of God is him here in human form. They can only reference God through referencing Jesus, right? There's no other way they can do it. They can't fathom a spiritual connection to a being that doesn't exist in a form that they can see with their eyes. That's why they run to Christianity so fast, because it gives them a man that they can connect with. She needs to be connected spiritually with a man in order to have spiritual astuteness. Now, am I saying she's got to be bad because she doesn't have spiritual astuteness? No. I'm saying she can be in her spirit. She can be a decent person. She can be a sweet girl. She can be kind. But in order for her to be spiritually astute, she has to be led there by a man. She has to be raised that way by her father, and then she has to be continued to be led that way by a man. You can't take her out of the gutter and make her a godly woman. You have to understand. You cannot allow someone who can't connect directly with the Most High to be your spiritual leader. It doesn't work. It's not going to go the way you think it ought to go. It's going to go the way it should go. See, you got to understand this. With her, there is something stronger than spirituality that controls her, and it's emotionality. She is built and equipped to be emotional. Why? Because as men, we are built and equipped to be logical, to be rational, to do things that need to be done because we see that they need to be done. We discern that they need to be done. We know what the remedy and solutions to these things are. We know how to take the consequences and repercussions of life and figure out a solution. Her contribution to the solution is all emotional institution. You need her to love your kids. You can't love them babies like that. You can't. You need her to understand how to embrace the emotional outpour from you. You go out, you deal with the world, you deal with the grind, you deal with all of this. She needs to be able to come and give you that soft space to rest as soon as you come through the door. That's what she's there for. She's there to make sure that you can not be caught up in emotions or caught up in stress or caught up in any of those things so you can stay spiritually astute. If she's in the front leading you in spiritual astuteness, who's taking care of the emotionality? No one is. Some of the most neglected kids that you'll ever see are kids that have a professional mother, a mother who's in a professional career, who's dedicated herself to her career. Those kids are absolutely neglected. Now, on the surface, when you look at it, if you're looking at the wrong thing, they don't look neglected. They have all of the finest things. They have all of the best clothes. They go to the best schools. They have all of that, but they have no nurturing at all. During the time where a child needs to be nurtured, they did not get the nurturing. And you can tell they're either they're either overly emotional or devoid of emotion as they mature. It is her job to do that. It is her job to soak up all of your issues. When you're intimate with your wife, it's her job to soak up those issues. She's too much of a physical and emotional presence to lead you spiritually. It is not her job to lead you spiritually. It is her job to be the physical and emotional sponge that needs to be in the household. That's why you can't expect that from her if you send her out to work every day. If you send your wife out to work every day, you don't have a wife. You have a co-partner. You have a co-worker. That's what you have. She's going out to work for someone. You're going out to work for someone, and you're coming home and you're pulling everything together. And so you're partners. You got to be in a position to pay the cost to be the boss. That's the way it's supposed to be. All Eve had to do was what Adam told her to do. She messed up when she went against that. Her uncontrollable emotions will do whatever they need to do. They will direct her and guide her in a time of great peace or turmoil. Her feelings guide her. No matter what the situation is, her emotional response will take precedence over any other response. You can't afford to have that as your leadership. You got to be the final decision maker, and so you can make the final decision based on what God would want you to do. We're talking life and death here. We're talking, wealth and health here. We're talking everything positive that you want to happen in life. We're talking about that versus the negative aspect of that. You have to be the spiritual guide in your household. There's no other way that you're going to be connected with God nor your household, because God will not come and exist in evil. So if your wife is evil in your household, God will abandon you. If your children are evil in your household, then God will abandon you, because he's not coming around filth. Cleanliness is next to godliness. There's no other way around that. It's been spoken on several times in the word. It has. And that's what I want y'all to understand. I want y'all to know that life is what you make it, but there's so many things that can break it. You know what I mean? You have to be, your spiritual astuteness has to guide everyone in your household. Because you got to understand this. A leader is going to take you to the place that they believe in, that works in their life. So if she leads you, she's going to take you to a place of emotionality. As a man, you can't afford to function in that space. You just can't afford to be in an emotional space. For one thing, you don't have the experience in emotionality. You don't have the patience of emotionality. There are certain emotions that women master that you don't even feel, unless you're led there and you're taught that. And you become less of a man. The more emotional you become, the less logical you become. So the less logical you become, the less spiritually astute you are. Spiritual astuteness is about logic. It's about saying, okay, God doesn't want me to do this, and not having some feeling that says, but they need me, but they want me, but they want whatever. You think about a man who commits adultery with another man's wife. You commit adultery with that man's wife because of your emotions. Your emotions are telling you, well, she's lonely. Your emotions are telling you, she's dissatisfied. I should have compassion for her situation. I should look out for her. It's not my fault. It's his fault. I ain't got nothing to do with him not taking care of his woman. The foundation of all that is emotionality. Sometimes it's your own loneliness. There's no spiritually astute lonely man. You can't be alone when you realize God is with you all the time. Loneliness for a man comes from when you put everything you have into people and then they abandon you, and then you don't have God with you because you chose people over God, so he's not there with you either. That's where loneliness comes from. Loneliness is not a thing that happens in a man's life when you're spiritually astute and connected with God where you're supposed to be. It just doesn't. Loneliness is a female thing. And then you have some women who say that, women are, God is a woman. Women are the creators of life. You didn't create the first life or the second life. When you became the creators of life. The first human being that was ever manifested from another human was a woman that was manifested from a man. The first human being. And every subsequent human being after that was manifested from that man. Cain and Abel were manifested from Adam, incubated and internally nurtured within Eve until they were old enough to come back out and then reconnect with their dad and be nurtured and carried on from there. This is what we're talking about. So she is not in a position to lead you spiritually. She is not in a position to do anything. If she's not taught by you and led by you to understand what her relationship with God should be, she can't even pray for you. It's so important that you understand that her connection with God must mirror yours. It must mirror yours. And if it doesn't, then she's an idolater. She's worshiping an idol God. We like to say, well, they're all gods. It's all the same God. We just call them different names. No. There are certain ways you live according to the God of Israel. Certain things you do. Certain things you honor. Certain blessings that are guaranteed to come your way if you live righteously. Think about this. Think about the logic. I want everyone, when we're done with the show, when you have some time now, I want you to read Deuteronomy 28. The whole 28th chapter of Deuteronomy, I want you to read it. It's long. It's got I think 6 to 8 books in it. Just go ahead and read it. 6 to 8 verses, rather. Read it. It's long, but it's got a lot of gems in it. And I want you to look at all the blessings that are guaranteed if you live a life that's pleasing to God. You live this life that's pleasing to God, you get this blessing and that blessing and this blessing and that blessing, and everything you touch and everything you do and everything you say and everything you speak and everything you dream is blessed. That's logical, right? This is God. He's going to reward you like this for being honorable, for being spiritually astute, for honoring his word, right? Now, you go and look at what the Christian church teaches people. It tells them that no matter how righteous you live, you may be persecuted. You may be punished. You may be ostracized. You may be hurt. They may do bad things to you. You may have to suffer and struggle. How logical is it that you are serving an all-powerful, almighty God, and his reward for you living a life that's pleasing to him is that you'll be punished, is that you'll be persecuted, is that you'll be ostracized? How logical is that? It's not logical at all. And that is why the majority of the church is filled with women. 90% of it. And I'm talking about that 90%, the 10% that's left includes the pastors and deacons and the associate pastors and all of that, the choir directors and all of that. So when you think about it, outside of those positions, there's probably 5%, 4 or 5% of the church that's men. Why? Because there is no logic there. That doesn't represent spiritual astuteness. That represents a suffering mindset where I'm going to suffer, but if I'm going to suffer for Jesus. I ain't going to suffer for no man. I'll go in here and suffer in the church. That's what that sounds like. It doesn't make sense. And I'm telling you, You will be incapable of prioritizing your spirit over your feelings if you allow your woman to lead you spiritually. See, this isn't about your woman being bad. This is about her not being equipped, her not being designed by God to be this leader for you. She's not designed for it. And a lot of times, you have to weed out the women who regret being feminine. You have to weed her out because if she regrets being feminine, she can't be your wife. She won't follow you. She won't listen to you. You can't lead her. She won't respond to your leadership. She won't. She'll go the opposite direction just because she doesn't want to be told what to do. The most humble, the best woman you can ever find in life is a woman who embraces being told what to do. Not because she's immature, not because she's a slave, not because of any of that, because she's humble enough to accept and respect the fact that she don't know what she's doing without your guidance. It has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with you being all powerful, anything. It has something to do with her looking within herself and accepting the fact that she doesn't know the way to God if you don't guide her there. When she looks at her life and she sees the thing that she's done that have harmed her, and you teach her that you can't recall ever doing those things, with, at least within the past, whatever, maybe in life, because the word says don't do it. If a woman can't respect your knowledge of the word and the fact that she sees you applying it to your life, then she cannot be led spiritually. It's not your job to bash her over the head with the word. That's not your job. She's supposed to be ready and willing to just get into a position to follow your spiritual leadership. And if she's not, she must be dropped because it's a waste of your time. You are on a mission, moving in the direction that God wants you to move in. You can't afford to stop and have to train up somebody to even be a follower. If I got to teach you how to follow, I'm not the one. I'm not the one. That's not my goal. That's not my job. That's not my responsibility. It's just not. Also, I want y'all to understand this. It takes a certain resilience to be a leader. It takes a certain ability to be able to ignore certain things, to ignore people's pain, to ignore people's distractions, to ignore people's complaints, to ignore people talking about how they need you, and then you fall off your mission with the Most High. You got to be equipped to ignore that, and women aren't equipped to ignore that. To some extent, different women are equipped to be a little bit stronger than others, but through and through, at some point, every woman has a breaking point where she's going to stop focusing on spirituality and then go be nurturing. But you want that. You want a woman who's nurturing. Like you want the most nurturing woman ever. So that way, all the nurturing that's required in her position, she takes care of it. You got to have that because you need nurturing. The children need nurturing. The family needs nurturing. The environment needs nurturing. Man, you need that. You got to have that soft feminine spirit in there, and it takes a hardness to be spiritually astute because you got to be willing to stand the line even in the face of maybe somebody else being affected negatively. If me honoring and worshiping God affects you negatively, well, I guess you're just going to be affected negatively. I'm not even considering how me worshiping God affects you at all. If it affects you positively, fine. If it affects you negatively, fine. I'm not doing it for how it affects you. I'm doing it for how it affects me. And that takes priority over everything. Takes priority over everything. And so you just got to understand when it really boiled down, she really don't want to lead you. She don't want to lead you. Sometimes a woman just wants the freedom of not following you. She just don't want to be tied into following you. Now that don't mean that she want to lead you. That means she just want to do whatever she want to do. And in your household, you're not going to allow that. There are rules. There are rules. You understand me? There are rules. Certain if you're eater of abominable foods, you can't even come in. You can't even come in. Now you come in a work capacity, and I can't. If I get somebody in here, man, doing some work, I ain't gonna be like, hey, look, hold up, what you eat? I don't care about none of that. But I'm talking about coming in to be around me, to spend time with me. You can't. No, no, no. It ain't not gonna happen. If you eat pork, can't eat out my dishes. You got belly full of shrimp, crab legs. Can't use my bathroom. Can't do it. So little small things like that. Man, there's a list of rules that I have, and I keep them posted because these are the rules I follow, and these are the rules that everyone else is gonna follow. That's just the way it is. And I want y'all to understand something. Anytime somebody's really caught up in the world, becoming spiritually astute is difficult for them. So a woman has to view you as someone she's willing to sacrifice everything for. She's willing to sacrifice what she's used to. She's willing to sacrifice what she deems as fun. She's willing to sacrifice what she deems as necessary because the one thing she wants to do is be with you. So if she doesn't prioritize being with you that way, then she's not going to jump off the porch and do all of these spiritually astute things that you want her to do. She's not going to be willing to do it. She's going to rather go do the things she would have already been doing. You got to think about the small things. You think about like a woman who works on Saturday. A woman who works on Saturday, man, can't live in my household, bruh. I can't do it. She can't live in my household if she work on Saturday. She just can't. I get it. I get it. Look, duty calls. You gotta go to work. You gotta pay your bills. You gotta do all of that. Okay, well, you stay over there and do that if that's what you gotta do. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm telling you, you got to have a woman who doesn't work, who works for you. And the thing is, you can't just make a woman work for you. A woman got to have a skill. She got to have a skill that benefits whatever work you have, whatever business you have. She has to have a skill that benefits that business, and she has to be a willing employee of yours, where she gives you whatever hours you want her to work in order to make sure that she's dedicated to the process of the progress that she's living off. You know what I mean? So this isn't an easy thing to do. I'm telling you, this is one of the requirements and qualifications that you must have when you're looking for a mate, when you're looking for a woman, when you're looking for a wife, when you're looking for somebody to be the mother of your children. These are the things that you must take into consideration. If not, you're gonna end up with a baby mama. Because eventually everything's gonna fizzle out if she doesn't follow you spiritually. Everything's gonna fizzle out. It's going to be too much of a burden. It's going to be too much for you to bear. It's going to be too much for you to care because you're going to realize that God is starting to move away from you because you won't move away from her. You understand me? You really have to take these things seriously, brothers. You really have to take them seriously. You know what I mean? Because nothing should ever come between you and the Most High. Nothing could. So if the woman is leading you, you automatically just put her between you and God. For somebody to lead you, they got to be between you and the final destination. If the final destination is a spiritually astute relationship with the Most High, and the woman is leading you, you are allowing this woman to go to God and speak for you. You are allowing this woman to pray to God on your behalf. You are allowing this woman to represent you to God. You're a man, and you are allowing the feminine energy to go to God and say, I come on behalf of Big Dean. I come on behalf of BOA. I come on behalf of Herring. I come on behalf of Jonathan Smith. I come on behalf of Markel. I come on behalf of Harlem Worldbreaker. I come on behalf of GT Extra. I come on behalf of Pastor Eki. I come on behalf of King Will. I come on behalf of Tupac with a Mohawk. What are we doing? How are we going to allow that to be what represents us, man? Let me turn my ISO up a little bit, man. Get a little dark in here. All right, let's see. Put the ISO up on 250. It was on 160. Let's see how well that worked. All right, yeah, that put us where we need to be. Yeah, that's right there. Oh, yeah, man, we in the game now. That's how that thing's supposed to be right there, man. All right, so look, here's what I want y'all to understand. I want y'all to know and understand that when you allow your woman to lead you, you become more effeminate. You know what I mean? You cannot afford to do that. You can't afford to do that because your life will be cursed. Your life will be cursed. You won't be able to connect with the Most High. You'll be too much about love, too much about feelings, too much about aligning yourself with people's wishes and all of these things. You can't afford to do that. You can't afford to align yourself with people's feelings. You just can't afford it. And you got to think about this. There are a group of women who believe that they're gods. They believe that they're God. You got to think about, the witches and the voodoo women and all of that. Now, they're their own spiritual leaders. But look at all of the things they have to do. They have to do things for protection. So they go and idolize false gods and false entities in order to be able to protect themselves or to be able to harm people or to be able to do whatever they need to do. But you got to understand that it's easier for a woman to do that because it doesn't require any actions. It doesn't require a lifestyle adjustment. It doesn't require her to live her life a certain way long term. It doesn't require her to start honoring the word of the Most High. It doesn't require her to let certain things go. It doesn't require her to live a life that's pleasing to God. It doesn't require her to follow you. And I'm going to be honest with you. If a woman is not following you spiritually, then you are running a risk if you even touch her. And I promise you, however great you think that woman is who's not willing to follow you spiritually, cut her off. Cut her off and watch God put a virtuous woman on your path. But you got to first cut off the woman that's in your life that you don't think is a virtuous woman, that you know isn't a virtuous woman, and you know is not going to be a virtuous woman because she's totally satisfied with the woman she is already. Now, when you do that, you got to think about one thing. You obviously don't think you deserve a virtuous woman who's going to follow you spiritually because you're still holding on to that woman who won't. You don't deserve something better if you're holding on to something that's worse. You don't deserve it. Where you going to get it from? How do you deserve this while you're holding on to that? You don't. But you will tell yourself that you do, and you will tell yourself that you will get that thing. And what you want to do an exchange. You want to have this thing here, and you want to exchange it. Give that and get this. That's not how it goes. You got to let that go because what God gonna give you, you need both hands for. You can't afford to hold something in one hand and have the other hand open because what God gonna give you, you can't hold it in one hand. You understand me? You got to open both hands, so they both got to be empty. You understand me? Ooh, look at that. Look at that autofocus. I put my fingers up, it just stay glued on my face. Ooh, ooh. Crispy autofocus, man. And I want y'all to understand that. Because when it comes to all those demonic forces and witchcraft and all that, man, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of women support that. And they're not going to come away from that because by the time they come away from that, it's too late. Because what did I tell you? You can't find a woman that's been in that stuff and then try to turn her into spiritual students because you can't just jump in. God ain't going to let you cheat. You don't get to jump in the middle of the game. A woman who's been going to church her whole life don't get to jump in right here on the level where you at and then just take off with you. No, she got to go back to the beginning. It takes a separation. She got to separate herself from the old stuff. That's why I'm telling you, a woman has to already been on this path for years. When you meet a woman, she already got to be on the path seeking the Most High. And then when she link in with you and she see that you're a man that's on that way, she going to love you. She going to fall right in line with you. That's why when you meet these women and they be God and they be seeking the face of God, their goal is to be a godly woman. they're a God-fearing woman, and there goes to be a godly woman, a woman of God. You know what happens? You meet that one man, woman tell you, man, that she been celibate for 2 years, 3 years, sometimes 5 years. Why? Because she's on a mission, and the first thing she looks at a man is his godliness, his spiritual astuteness. And she understands that roles can be played. And so she waits it out to see if this man is who he says he is. And if a man is who he says he is, and he realizes that he's come into contact with a woman who's God-fearing, he's going to hold on to her. Because every man that's living in spiritual astuteness wants a God-fearing woman, not just a church girl, not just somebody who can spew out scriptures and do all of that, a God-fearing woman. A woman who, when you meet her, she say, "Nah, I don't work on Sabbath. Saturday's the seventh day. On the seventh day, I should be resting." That's what God did when he created the world. Those types of things. The type of woman who understands that when it's her time of the month, she's got to be separated. She's already prepared for that. She understands that. You ain't got to teach her that. You ain't got to force her to do that. You ain't got to listen to her complain about why she got to do that. Well, I can't rely on you the time I need you the most. So you need me for what? Well, I need to cuddle and I need you to rub my belly. You don't need me to rub your belly, not at that time. How old are you? Okay, how many times to rub your belly during that time of the month? All right, well, you better get on. Wait a minute, let me ask you a question. Have you ever had anybody ever rub your belly that time of the month? Yeah, plenty. Okay, well, where he at? So obviously that rubbing your belly didn't keep him with you, did it? This is how you run your household spiritually astute. Man, listen, I'm standing on the principle precept of the Most High in the face of any woman at all. There's one way that we're going to live here. And if you're not equipped to do that, I don't have time to slow down and let you try it on for size. So you got to already be living this life. It's already got to be taking place in your life already. And I think that's one of the major things that we as men don't allow for. We don't allow ourselves time to see if this woman is God-fearing. We don't do that. And you know how we like to talk about God all the time. So we'll meet a woman and we'll just be talking about God and talking about the things that we like and talking about the things that how we worship God and how we found God and all. That's great conversation. People like to talk about it. But all you're doing is giving her all the information she needs, and she's logging into her mental Rolodex, and then she's going home, and then she's going to become that type of woman. So next time you see her, you can't really tell too much first conversation. Next time you see her and have a conversation with her, she's going to be put on her chameleon clothes. You understand? She's gonna be a chameleon. She's gonna transform into what you want her to be. That's why you got to wait it out. You can't be out here trying to do what these guys tell you to do. Go sleep with as many women as you want to, because you don't want a woman in your life that's not focused on being spiritually astute. If she's not a God-fearing woman, you don't want to do anything with her. From intimacy, from hanging out, from even from friendship. How you gonna govern your male friendships and say, okay, man, we can't hang if you ain't on this, if you ain't in this God lane. But then, and when it comes to intimate relationship, you just gonna pick anybody up. It don't make sense. It doesn't make sense. We have to understand that we have to take a better outlook on these things, man. Because the truth is this: God commands men to follow Him. God holds men accountable for the word, for righteousness. There were no female priests. So even when you had to go take a sacrifice to the priest, there were no female priests. The tribe of Levi, there were no female priests. It was all the brothers of Levi. The high priest was never a female. So I want you to understand something. You must remember, and here's the main reason that she can't be, that you got to think about it. Think about how unclean she is during that time of the month. How's she going to be a priest and have a time of the month every year? Every month. Every month there's 7 days where she unclean like that. It just doesn't work. And the thing is, the reason people don't like to address these things, and that's why everything in this society has become about man versus woman, male versus female, because if you don't make a distinction between the two, then you lose your connection to the Most High, because the most spiritual connection on earth is the connection of a God-fearing man to the Most High. You understand? And so God commands men to follow him, and he commands women to follow men. What did he tell Eve? Your desire shall be to your husband, and he shall rule over you. Rule. You know what rule means? That means you do what I say. That means if I say these are the rules, you follow them. That means if I say we going left, I don't want to hit nothing else. You already got the map out trying to see where the next big town is. Like we already going. And that's why you must understand that you cannot allow yourself to be led spiritually by your woman. She is your student spiritually. You are her teacher. She is your follower spiritually. You are her leader. She is your child spiritually. You are her spiritual daddy. And that's the only way that this is ever going to work in your life. Because you got to understand this. You're connected to God. Adam was connected to God. Eve was never connected to God. She was connected to Adam. She was never connected to God. Let's go. Let's look at this. I want y'all to look at something. This going to bring the whole thing home, right? This going to bring the whole thing home right here. We're going all the way back to the beginning. Okay. Now we've already seen, and the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die if you eat, blah, blah, blah. For God knoweth that in the day you eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and you shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to her eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. And the eyes of them both were open, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons. And they heard the voice of the Lord God walking in the garden in the cool of the day. And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord God amongst the trees of the garden. And the Lord God called unto Adam and said to him, where art thou? And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, and I hid myself. And he said, who told thee that thou was naked? Hast thou eaten of the tree whereof I commanded thee that thou shouldest not eat? And the man said, the woman whom thou gavest to me to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat. Not once did he address the woman until he asked her, what hast thou done? He didn't say, Adam and Eve, where are y'all? He said, Adam, where art thou? He wasn't even thinking. He didn't come in there to talk to the woman. The woman was supposed to be doing whatever Adam told her to do. She was a secondary afterthought. It had nothing to do with her. So even when Adam said, yeah, the woman gave me of the tree and I did eat, I don't blame the woman for giving him, I don't blame the woman for him eating. He knew he shouldn't eat it. He ate it because of emotional attachment to the woman. Like he shouldn't have eaten it. He should let her eat it by herself and say, okay, God, I think you need to make me another one. This one right here is defective. But when God came in that Garden of Eden, when they heard the voice of the Lord God walking in there, he said, Adam, where art thou? Because Adam is connected to God. The woman is simply connected to the man. She's connected to the earth and to people, not to God. Her connection is to loving people, nurturing people, caring about people, serving people. Her position is a position of servitude. Yours is a position of leadership, guidance, responsibility, because God holds you accountable for what happens in your household. And that includes the woman who will not follow you. Couple super chats here, man. Got Herring in here. Herring 2 times. Only God can give you a proverb wife. Hundreds of blessings. Yep, real talk. Let me see this other one. Appreciate you again, man. OGBOA, go hard and keep the consistency. We need to be united here in the kingdom. Hundreds of blessings. Yeah, real talk, man. We do. We do. We got to build ourselves into a way, man, that reminds us as men that we have a life that we need to live and we have things that we need to do. And one of the things that I hold true is that as men, God is connected to me, God is connected to you. And it is for your woman to do whatever you instruct her to. Unlike Eve, who did the opposite. That's why you can't let your woman run out there in the wilderness by herself. She's too easily influenced. Nothing is enough. All right. I appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate y'all being in the joint. Y'all know we had to come in here, man, do the good afternoon without for running this show. I got another piece of content coming up for y'all later, man. Regular piece of content. I'm slowly, man, trying to transition this channel into the main channel. You know, we're gonna keep doing work on the BOA channel, but honestly, ain't really much. I mean, yeah, there's guys who still need the information, young guys coming up, but honestly, I mean, what more can I say over there? You know, but I'm gonna keep going, man. But I'm slowly trying to turn this into the main channel, man. So y'all bear with me on that, man. Work with me on that. Listen, SJ3, brother, I appreciate you being in the joint. I appreciate everybody else, man. Rain a Woman, I appreciate you. Markel, man, I appreciate y'all, man. Always on deck, man. I appreciate you. We're gonna go ahead and get ready to slide out of here, man. Thanks to Panasonic for this phenomenal S52 50mm f1.8 combo. It is magnifique. All right, brothers. I appreciate y'all, man. Peace.